Hello and welcome back to another episode of Chatting with Chip with Barton College football head coach Chip Hester. I am Wilson Times Sports editor Paul Durham, and Coach Hester, we got a lot to talk about this week. Big 38-21 win, homecoming win over your old team Catawba Saturday at Truist Stadium. Man, there were so many things that looked good. I know there were a lot of things that you need to feel like you got to clean up. Let's talk about the good stuff, starting with number one, Jordan Terrell. A career-high 302 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns, 68 yards, 53 yards. Man, what a day for him. And like I said, the offensive line, just a real good day for an offense that had been struggling.
Yeah, it was good to see our team break out on offense. And I think you nailed it there when you mentioned the offensive line and Jordan Terrell, because those guys, when he starts getting into carries 20 plus, so it gets 25, 26, 30, that's when he really starts wearing on you, and our offensive line along with that. And so it was good to see, and that's exactly what he did. He kept on. We had successful runs throughout the game, but those 3 and 5 and 6 yard gains all of a sudden turned into 50+ yard huge explosive plays, and so that sealed the game for us. It was good to see. I thought our team stepped up at different times during the game, offensively, defensively, and special teams, and so it was good. Man, it was just a good day to be a Bulldog. I mean, homecoming, great crowd, great atmosphere, and then to get the win was the icing on the cake.
Yeah, and you got guys, I mean, I think we talked it was a good team win, obviously, across the board. But, I mean, if you look at the guys who were the superlatives, it's the guys who really have kind of been doing it all along. Shane Perry and Joseph Ledbetter on defense, Jordan on offense. You needed playmaking plays. Playmakers make plays, as I guess is what I'm trying to say, and They did it on Saturday.
Yes, I think you and I have talked about it before, Paul, where we and it's something that Coach Broadway would talk to me about it during my time at A&T, is to think players, not plays. And I thought our players came up and made great plays. You mentioned 2 guys in Shane Perry and J.L. Ledbetter. Both guys are banged up. Both guys, they might, if they were someone that's not quite as mentally tough, wouldn't be even playing, but they stepped up in big ways. I thought Shane Perry having 17 tackles is unreal. I mean, he really stepped up, and I was worried about him being able to make it through the game. He's got an arm that's extremely sore, but he really stepped up in a big way. And then I thought JL was really a force up front, and we needed it. We needed those guys to step up in a big way, and they did it for sure.
Well, Coach, I noticed another thing about your team here in the last few games, and certainly on Saturday. We've got these guys who have been part of this program all along, and they've been producing. I'm starting to see some new names pop up with regularity. Yeah. Ja'Cory Bible on defense, Nasir Winston on defense. You got a couple offensive linemen that have stepped in this year. You're really starting to see some other contributors. And then the biggest contribution of all Saturday, really, from guys that was Isaiah Jacobs blocking that punt, recovering it for a touchdown. A guy who's on special teams because he hadn't cracked the starting lineup as a receiver, but here he is making one of the biggest plays of the game.
You talk about a huge play. That is a huge play in a football game. I know you and I've talked about it before. The percentages of winning games where you block a punt goes way up.
Oh, yeah.
And so Isaiah, I'm hopeful that just breaks the seal for him, and he starts making more and more plays. He is a talented wide receiver, and he is still learning and getting all the little intricacies that you need to have down to be an impact player at wideout. But he's showing those flashes, and he can run. He's athletic, and he just made a huge play for us on Saturday that really set the tone. I thought it really got us going, which I felt like we needed after coming off some losses and having that negative feel. I thought it really was a big boost to us, and a big reason we won on Saturday.
No doubt, because you didn't score. Your offensive touchdown drought extended 2 more quarters. Sure. You didn't get in the end zone. Sure. You got a field goal from Jackson Brooks, and that big play, it was only 10-0, so you needed that because that was actually a game. I mean, they took the lead, and I remember at one time thinking,
Right.
This is starting to look a lot like Tusculum, where you play well early on, you get a lead, and then the other team just doesn't go away.
Right.
But they did go away quickly in short order in the fourth quarter on those two possessions. So where did you guys need to get better on Saturday? I know you've been dying to talk about what you need to do better. So
yeah, I even talked to the guys after the win that I was going to try really hard to just focus on enjoying this win, and so we did for a day, and then we started working on what we needed to work on, and that's our passing game. Our passing game is really not where we need to be right now, and we're trying to tailor make things that are going to fit with the personnel that we've got right now, and so that's what we're trying to do. And this week it'll be a big key, because if we're not able to run, you're going to get a bunch of people in the box, and it's going to be harder to run the football. So we've got to do that, and then we've got to tighten up a couple things on defense. And we've got you mentioned earlier some freshmen. Those names are popping up, and there's a reason those names are popping up. It's because we're super banged up, and so guys are having to step up, and so hopefully what we're doing is getting just super valuable experience, and those guys are starting to make plays, starting to get a little more used to it, and so my hope is that we'll reap some of the rewards of those experiences that they've gotten over the last couple games, and that'll carry over to the last two games of this year and then into next year, because I think we've got some talented guys. We just don't have very much experience, and so we're getting some experience, and guys are stepping up.
Well, that is the key, because you came in, you had to recruit basically a whole team in a year, and then add to it in the second year, and so the third year, by the time you get there, you got guys who've been starting for 2 years already.
Right.
They're not going to step out of that.
Right.
So how do you find playing time for the other guys? It's sort of you have to sort of keep working it in. So it's really good when these guys get a chance and really produce.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with the COVID, you and I have talked about this as well, but the COVID year is an extra redshirt year, and so roster management really becomes kind of tricky, and and that's one of the reasons we didn't bring in a lot of transfer portal guys, because we had a lot of guys coming back, and they had multiple years of eligibility remaining, and that'll be something that we'll have to talk with some of these guys to find out. Are you planning on coming back? And we'd love for a bunch of them to, but I know that's not realistic for everyone. So we're trying to manage that the best we can, and recruit accordingly. But there are a lot of moving pieces in this deal.
Yeah, I think you're going to have probably a lot of interviews after the season, and you probably aren't going to have full answers even then,
Right.
as far as based on just talking to guys here and there,
Sure.
and who's coming back, who's not. I think
Sure.
it seems like a lot of guys would like to, but it's a real life situation that you got to deal with.
Absolutely.
Well, Coach, let's look at this Saturday, your last road trip of the 2022 season. Going down to Limestone, you guys beat them last year. They're a much tougher team this year. They had a big win the other day. As we always say, this conference gets a little crazy every week. But I think this is a big win, a big game for y'all. If you can win this game, it will certainly give you a good sense going in off season, because there are games against teams that similar records. Probably not similar. They're probably better record than y'all right now.
Right.
But it's a game that if you beat a team last year, you feel like you probably could beat them again this year. It's next on the schedule, so obviously it's the most important game you guys have all season. But just want to get your thoughts on facing Limestone and what it means to you guys to go up against a team like that.
Yeah, facing them last year, they're a good-looking team. So they had some really talented guys, and then this new coaching staff has come in and brought in a bunch of transfer portal guys, and they've really transformed their whole culture. Everything is going their way right now. As a matter of fact, they just cracked the top 10 in the regional rankings.
Oh, wow.
So they've really made some strides. So I think they're number 9 in the region right now in the regional rankings for playoff contention. So we'll have our hands full. They're a talented football team. Like I said, they had some good talent last year and couldn't put it all together, but they really have put it all together this year. They've got a healthy quarterback that's doing a really nice job. They've got a tailback that's really just having an outstanding season. So this is going to be a challenge, and our guys have got to find a way to compete again, and we're going to go and play on their campus, which is a different environment. This is the first time they've played on campus.
Right.
So and it's configured a little bit differently. So that'll be a little bit of a different look. But I think our guys, I think they'll come to play on Saturday, and I think they know what's ahead of us, and I think they have figured out by now that every game in this league is a battle, and it's a physical test, and it's a mental test, and so hopefully our guys will be up to that challenge on Saturday.
Well, Newberry found that out Saturday if they didn't already know it, but I'm sure they did. And I guess that's the thing about this game, because you guys have not beaten a team in the conference with a better record than you this year, have you?
No doubt.
You beat Wise and you beat Catawba.
Right.
You got Erskine left, and they have a worse record. So this is one of those games where it's like if you can beat a team that has a better record than you, I would think going into the offseason you feel a lot better about yourself. Maybe help you forget a little bit some of those the Mars Hill and the Tusculum games.
Right. Look, this is a good team. This is not a fluky. That win on Saturday was not a fluke. They went overtime with Wingate. They have scored points on everyone. They are by far and away the most productive offense in the league. So they've got it going on right now, and I think that provides a great opportunity for us to see if we've made some progress over the last couple weeks and have found ways to be competitive. And it's not going to be easy. We are not. We're a banged up football team. We are a banged up football team. We've got some guys that are really toughing it out, some guys that are stepping up. But this is going to be a challenge, and I think our guys are up to the challenge. I think it's an opportunity to kind of test our young guys and see where we are, and see if we're able to take another step forward.
Well, you've got a good chance to do something and end the season. Well, I wouldn't say end the season because you got one more game against Erskine, and we can talk about that after that. But that last road game against a team that is, like you said, they're not playing on a high school field anymore. It's a little bit of a different situation for you guys as you go into it. Well, Coach, I got to ask you, how has practice been so far this week? You have one day of practice, I guess. After 5 straight losses, you guys had got to have had a good time yesterday.
Yeah, it was good. The only bad thing is, we're so banged up right now. We've got a bunch of guys that we're holding out of some practices to try to give them an extra day of rest. So we're missing some guys, but hopefully they'll all be back. And I don't think there are any that are going to be missing the game on Saturday. But Monday, this league is it is a gauntlet, and our guys are feeling the effects, and so they're tough, and hopefully we'll get another guy or two back this week, which will help us in our depth. But there is a little extra pep in your step when you get a win. There's no question about it, and we've talked about it. It's hard to win on the college level. I don't care where you are. I don't care what's going on, and so you better enjoy them. And you better try to build off the momentum.
Well, you've got certainly a reason to smile going into it, and like you said, you got the momentum. Even if the guys are, this time of year, I don't know if there's many football teams in America that don't have guys licking their wounds at this point.
Absolutely.
Every coach I talked to, we got typical bumps and bruises for 1st of November. So
right.
Hopefully you guys can get through it and not have any more injuries and anything to deal with, and then we move into your favorite time of year, I guess, is recruiting in the off season.
It's hugely important. It's the most important time of the year for sure.
Yeah, it never ends, does it? I think you had said recruiting is a 365-day a year job, so you never have a chance to not think about it. Well, Coach, that's enough for this week. We had a great time, and we'll be back next week to talk about Limestone and look forward to the last game of the season against Erskine on November 12th back here at Truist Stadium. So come back and see us next Tuesday on Chatting with Chip.